Hey there everybody, it's the Doctor here with Typical Manga Fan, and in this episode of the Typical Manga Review we will be discussing One Piece, Chapter 784, Gear 4th. And we open with a new color spread, and I always love these. I don't know if I told you this before, but whenever a new color spread for One Piece comes out, I make it my desktop, my wallpaper.
Look at Sanji.
He's finally getting some action.
She is biting him. He is her food. He is cooking himself.
I don't think, this being Sanji, I don't think he'd mind. Yeah. I mean, really, what's more creepy here? The zombie woman biting him, or the fact that he does not seem to be the least bit bothered by it?
Well, yeah.
Of course, I love the fact that Brooke the skeleton is scared to death of the zombies.
That's amazing. That's what's funny.
And we also have Chopper in Luffy's lap.
Yeah, Nami's really scared, and Nami's just like, yeah, being cool as always.
Yeah, Robin's feeding them.
Yeah.
And Frankie's doing the Thriller dance.
Yeah.
He's also got little Frankenstein bolts in his hair.
Yeah.
Right. Are those? I mean, they're drawn the same way. But I wonder, are those meant to be like the same zombies of Thriller Bark?
I have no idea. But yeah.
Okay, so getting to the fan art here. Okay, here we go. And we open up with people running from their lives from the closing in bird cage. Like, it's kind of interesting to note here, like on this very first top panel, like on the one hand we have Marines carrying like a child and pushing an old man in a wheelchair along, but then on the right side we also have a pirate carrying along an old woman, and carrying a man that looks like on his shoulders too.
Yeah, everyone's well, I mean, everyone's pretty much teamed up, right? Like, at this point.
More or less for survival, if nothing else here. But at the same time, the pirates are out for themselves against Doflamingo, but these guys are actually helping the civilians too.
Yeah, but I think at this point, I think this is a point in the series. I mean, in the arc where everyone's kind of being like not evil but really good.
Yeah,
they're good at heart. So yeah, I think it's nice. It's a nice touch that he has there.
Yeah.
And obviously it's basically. I mean, the pirates are selfish, but I think there's a bit of good in everyone. Yeah. And remember, otherwise the Marines and pirates would be trying to fight each other at this moment. Why would they help? Why would they try to help the citizens? Especially, well, I mean, I know Fujitora is a big civilian guy, but I mean,
he's big on helping the civilians. That's his big thing.
But I think this is just a really cool scene to see anyway. Yeah. So.
And it's gonna need to see it animated too, I think, because we'll probably get like actual scenes of them helping the people along.
Yeah.
But anyways, we move along here. People are seeing that the birdcage is shrinking down, but also the buildings aren't all getting cut. Like the buildings that the birdcage isn't just cutting through; it's actually starting to drag along with them, with it. It's kind of
weird. It's kind of weird. Does that mean that the cage is not really that powerful by itself? Like it's not strong enough to slice through it, but rather only strong enough to just push it.
Maybe there. I mean, that might be the simplest explanation on here.
Yeah, because with pressure times pressure and force and area, basically it means that each individual line of the cage isn't actually that strong.
Yep.
So. And
then we go back down to the plateau where the royal palace is located. Basically, Sai is kind of rallying the troops, and they're realizing that this is what's the birdcage is getting smaller. That's why everybody's getting such a big fuss. So she's rallying everyone around to get people on their feet so they don't get the wounded on their feet or get them out of there. And we also have a fun little thing with Baby 5. Like, this is the true horror of the birdcage, dear. And just by referring to him as a term of endearment, she's just squeeing to herself internally.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of how that resolved. Just because I feel like, how is he? I mean, he'll take care of her, but I mean, I really would like it if she actually fell in love with someone and not do it because of a problem. Because the problem hasn't been fixed.
True, but she's having good. She's happy at the moment, so that's fine. And it's all her. I mean. Nothing's making her be happy right now.
Yeah, I just feel like this is something that she kind of needs to get over though eventually, because it's not otherwise it's kind of fake, it's kind of fake.
Well, it's only like her first day in remission here, so give her some time. Anyway, let's see here. Page is getting slow to load on me here, so if you wouldn't mind.
I just don't know if she's gonna get better though. I just think that.
Nah, it could go either way. I mean, it's still a funny gag.
Yeah.
And it could even be funny with Sai making a point of stopping her from doing it.
Yeah, I mean, if Sai's basically telling her to stop doing that, I'm thinking he's the type of guy who'll tell her to you gotta change, okay? And maybe that will actually make her fall in love with him, legitimately. Yeah. And I think that's that's really the only way to go at this point. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we see everyone's like, holy crap, it's shrinking. Viola, Usopp, fisherman guy,
Hack.
I forgot his name. Yeah. And then they're basically saying, I think they're telling them to move to the center. Is that?
Yeah, basically, like they're getting out of there because even though they're technically in the center of the kingdom, they aren't in the center of the birdcage because that's centered on where Doflamingo was when he opened it or closed it down on all of them.
Yeah. So yeah, everyone's got to go there to basically avoid the cage. And true, I mean, Doflamingo can't cut himself. So I mean, if we get close enough, he might actually have to stop it.
Well, that's why he's in the center. By the time he stops it, everything else will be dead.
Yeah, true. But then you know Luffy can just throw him into his own cage. See?
Well, I don't know if it's like what you just said earlier. It's not necessarily strong enough to cut things on its own all by itself.
Yeah.
I mean,
it'll hurt him though.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy. I mean, remember that guy who got launched into the cage from the Elbaf guy? He punched him up into the sky.
Oh yeah,
he got hurt, but he didn't get cut. See?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the first thing we saw cut was the guy's mustache. So.
Yeah.
Anyway,
all right, so we go to Law and Cavendish, right?
Yep. Yeah, the sunflower field.
And yeah. And apparently he's talking about, your arm, I hope it's good. I hope it's back on correctly. And, if blood starts flowing through it, it'll start to heal. And Law's like, yeah, I know, I'm a doctor. Jeez, man.
Yeah, it's like, I know, I'm a doctor. But like I said, like Leo and Mancheri have done their part to keep him in one piece. Pun intended.
Yeah.
Well, not intended, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
And Cavendish is kind of having a tender moment here. He's like, while he was underground in that trading port, he realized something, that this fight, assuming you two managed to beat Doflamingo, the ripples from that splash will be felt the world over, and you all will become the eye of the storm. Like, yeah, that's what we're after.
And then we're going back to the Luffy and Doflamingo fight. Right?
Yep. And Doflamingo's wondering just what Gear 4th is supposed to be. And what we see here is like, one, Luffy kicks off his sandals.
Oh, he's getting serious now.
Yep. He takes a deep breath and apparently blows into his arm, and this time it's the muscle balloon. Which I find kind of disturbing in a way, because like the bone balloon is kind of funny, even though it's like now because it makes me picture him like biting into his arm enough to get to the muscles.
Yeah.
I mean, technically he's doing the same thing with the bone balloon, I guess, but at the same time, that's just like, I don't know, like one thing and you're done. I don't know.
He's basically doing something like Gear 30, but compressing it throughout his entire body.
Right,
so
like instead of inflating his bones for power, like he's going into the actual muscles and fibers in his body.
Yeah.
And he's doing some hockey in there too.
And then he looks like oh my gosh, this is so Japanese. You can just tell. Like it's like the kabuki thing,
yep.
like kind of like that guy Kumadori. Yeah, Kumadori from CP9. Yeah. You can see his eyes having the black.
Well, there's also a bit of Nightmare Luffy in there.
Yeah, and then
which is probably why they did the Thriller Bar cover.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah. Also, do you notice that he's bouncing all the time?
Yeah.
Like that seems to be one of the weaknesses of this form. Like he makes him so bouncy he can't not bounce, or bound as the case may be here with the name, Gear 4th Bound Man.
Yeah, and then Doflamingo starts laughing, and he's like, basically using the elasticity of rubber to get bounce here. How desperate are you? And Luffy says that he basically developed this technique during the 2 years he fought during training when he fought the wild beasts, and said that he basically had to use Gear 4 to pound them into submission, and the size and elasticity were what helped him.
Yep.
And then he's like, I like Luffy was like, I still don't get it. Like, I still don't get why you have to be so bouncy. And I noticed this too. Like, do you notice that Luffy? First of all, Luffy says, "I'm not gonna let you get your way anymore." But when he gets ready to attack, it looks like a lot like Bellamy's spring technique.
Yeah, someone I don't know if it was the One Piece podcast or something else I saw in there, but I did hear that mentioned somewhere too. Like it's almost like he dealt with it before this, but there's also a nice little karma for it to be. I don't think I told you about it. I think I told you about that on Twitter too.
You told me about Twitter, but yeah. I also.
I don't remember where I saw it now. TV Frizz Brilliance where they mentioned it, but so yeah. It has a nice little extra touch of karma to this.
Yeah, definitely. And I always wondered, can Luffy technically... I mean, Luffy did something similar when he does Gear 2nd, because he does that with his legs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always wondered, like, can't Luffy technically do what Bellamy does? Because he can increase it. He's very elastic, so he can...
Yeah.
Bellamy
would probably do it... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I mean, I can say that I actually do a lot of studies on this, but yeah.
Yeah, I think Bellamy would probably do it better since it's specific to his power, but Luffy probably could do an imitation of it. Like, do it to some degree himself. And basically, like, it's kind of weird, like, we see him retracting his arm into itself. It almost like just kind of like going backwards. I can't think of what to describe it as here though.
Yeah.
But I do know, like, right as he's about to attack, like jumping up into attack, is like it actually goes into it to the point where I can almost imagine like a little cannon or type noise, like as it goes in that last little bit, right before he unleashes it.
It looks like a cannon too.
Yeah,
right?
It does. Yeah, and it's like that's the Gum Gum Kong gun. Like I'm assuming Kong is in King, but still.
Yeah. So. Yeah, he basically attacks Doflamingo, and Doflamingo's like, "Holy crap, it's powerful!" And he just gets thrown.
He just gets tossed way out of there. Like he just like gets all across the entire dang city, and it looks like he skids for a while too before he actually stops.
Yep.
And then he's stopped by civilians who realize that it's Doflamingo. He just came flying down out of the sky, and I kind of like this next part here. It's like, "Why are you here?" And like, I'd like to ask the same damn question. Like, he's just as confused by it as the rest of them, or at least just as angry about it. So pretty much everybody else starts fleeing.
Yep, and let's see what else here. It's just funny how everyone at this point is so scared of Doflamingo, even though like just a while ago they like revered him for being their savior, and now it's like, nope, the truth's out. He's actually the one who caused all that shit to you. So
yep. So it makes sense that they'd be afraid of him at that point, and at this point, like Luffy starts giving chase, apparently like using Gear 4 to do the moonwalk of CP9 or something similar to it.
Yeah, basically, Doflamingo points out that he's using his elasticity to fly, but yeah, it is basically the moonwalk. So it's Soru. It's in Japanese. It's Soru, right?
No, Geppo. Oh. Soru was the shave, the flash step move.
Okay,
he got that with Gear 2nd.
Oh yeah, that's the one that caused him to be hella fast, and this one's the one that allows him to fly. Yeah, moonwalk. I thought he only mastered Soru though.
Well, at the time of Gear 2nd he did. Yeah, apparently with Gear 4 he can do that one, and we know Sanji has the moonwalk too.
Everyone's stealing CP9's techniques. They're like, what the frick?
Well, they are good moves.
Yeah.
Because think about it. Like, think about how much of a good fight they put up when, outside of the Devil Fruit powers, they only really had 6 techniques.
Yeah. So let's see. And Luffy attacks him again, but Doflamingo dodges. No, he doesn't dodge. Never mind, he doesn't dodge.
He takes a drop kick to the face, but it does look like he's trying to hockey his face up.
I think so. But that doesn't really. Yeah, he still gets basically tossed all the way into another building, I think. Right?
Yep, and this one's the Gum Gum Rhino Snider. And apparently, according to notes here, like that's the kanji that they use for the attack in Japanese read as howitzer, as in the cannon. And then now they're wondering about, like, now the civilians watching are wondering about just what the hell, who the heck Luffy is, who just drop kicked Doflamingo, and now he's bouncing away like some kind of ball.
I wonder if you play soccer with him.
And I always love watching the civilians like overreact to the Straw Hat's antics. That's one of my favorite parts.
I mean, at some point, I always thought that, but I thought at a certain point, if you're living on the Grand Line, you kind of get used to that, don't you? Right? I know that Doflamingo and Luffy are even strong, even compared to the Grand Line pirates. But it's like at a certain point, you're just like, I wonder when they're gonna actually get to an area where they're like used to all that. You know, maybe that'd be a joke in the end. Like they'll get to like Raft or whatever, and then maybe there are people living on there, be like, we've seen that every day.
Yeah, been there, done that. Said hi to Whitebeard.
Yeah.
I got Whitebeard autograph. And then Doflamingo's just getting more and more frustrated because this punk still is nothing but plain old rubber. I mean, he hardened his skin with armament hockey, and it says like with that increase in tensile strength, his powers are increased several times over. And then think about then we get another one here, like Gum Gum Culverin, which is like a type of cannon. And apparently the kanji for Japanese, like what the move, like the one thing with Japanese, like it was with Oda at least, is a lot of times like you'll see the move in kanji, like the actual like Japanese word, but you don't see like in katakana, like, which I think it's because this is like a magazine for younger readers. It's used as a pronunciation guide. We'll give you like whatever the word is supposed to be, even if it's not necessarily the same as the kanji. Like the pronunciation might be different. Like we have pistol instead of whatever the Japanese word for it is. But anyway, like in this one we get Culverin. It's in the kanji for it reads as Python Cannon, keeping I guess that animal theme with his attacks with hockey. Like, and Doflamingo tries to attack again.
Yep.
And this next part might be significant. I'm not entirely sure about this, but when Doflamingo kicks him, like he absorbs the blow, which makes Doflamingo surprised because even though he's hardened by armament hockey, his body's still rubbery.
Yeah, I think that's another. I think that's maybe another advantage where because I think when you're rubbery, you can absorb more of the damage. So you have the armor and you have that. I mean,
yeah, because I think I never really took note of it before, but I guess it's a thing that you can't necessarily use hockey and stay rubber at the same time, or at least like have his body stay rubbery. Like hockey lets him tank attacks, but rubber lets him absorb them, so to speak. Because thinking back on it, like when he did some of his attacks before, like like his elephant gun where he uses gear third and then hockey, or the Grizzly Magnum, like he'll blow himself up first and then hockey up.
Yeah, I think it might have been like a weakness that he had that we kind of didn't notice, but now that they kind of pointed out, I was like, yeah, right. I don't think he could have used those at the same time because it doesn't really make sense. Right. But I think maybe he found a balance with Gear 4. Gear 4 seems to literally be a balanced type of technique where you have like the half of Gear second and half of Gear third. Yeah. So it would make sense that you would also have kind of like a balance of techniques too, like in the sense of you're not as hard as as Gear third, but you're a lot more faster and flexible and elastic with Gear second, basically.
Yeah, and I think that's one reason why one of the theories for Gear 4 that was going around right before we actually see it is that it might be something that gives him a lot of strength but reduces his stretchiness, which is definitely not the case here, especially with the next attack that we come up with.
And we get, and he's like, oh yeah, and Doflamingo said, first off, Luffy's like, get him, Python, which is kind of weird. He's talking to him with his arm. Why is he talking to his arm?
I don't know. Just because it probably just go along with what he's about to do here, because he does another cool variant, but this time he's somehow able to change the fist's direction midway through.
Well, that actually makes sense, but the bones must be hella weird then.
Well, they're made of rubber, so it's not like it's not like we have to exactly worry about him being double jointed or something.
I mean, actually, probably because I always thought that was like a weakness. Wasn't it like a weakness when it comes to the bone in like Gear third though? Like, yeah, the bones are also elastic, but they can't take as much as maybe his, a certain as much as well, no, they couldn't take it being inflated as much, right?
Well, it slowed him down. Like there's too much mass.
Yeah, that would cause an issue. But then, it makes sense. I was wondering, why didn't he ever do this before?
Well, it
might have been just a hard technique. Like, it's really hard to master.
Yeah, it might have been like the bones were something pretty obvious for him to figure out. I mean, they probably have cartoons or comics or with something like that as a gag. I mean, that's what makes me think of it whenever I see Gear third.
So basically, yeah, normally when Luffy attacks, he stretches out and then he shrinks back into normal Luffy. But this time it doesn't. He actually keeps following Doflamingo, and it punches him right in the face, and he uses Gomu Gomu no Culverin.
Yeah, the Culverin again. Yep.
Gear 4 explodes. Yep. Smashes Doflamingo in the face. I'm not gonna lie, I love this. Yeah. I love it. I love him getting smacked around. And honestly, how much can Doflamingo take this at this point?
Well, go ahead.
He's been hammered. I mean, this is like, even for Doflamingo. I mean, after what he took from Law, he better be defeated like really soon. I mean, how could it's ridiculous at this point.
And it's like some of the comments I've seen on forums and Arlong Park and such is like the only thing tougher than Doflamingo so far, Doflamingo's glasses.
You're right.
They have not breaking them.
We actually don't even know what he looks like. We don't even know what he looks like underneath those glasses.
It's like broken that way. Like we never see his eyes.
We're never going to either.
Yeah. Well, not Brook, because he doesn't have any eyes anymore.
That's what I'm saying. We're never going to.
Like, but even when he was alive, we always wore those like small, little sunglasses. Yeah. And like, it's funny. Those like some of the manga stream comments on here is like, now the chair has a rival.
Why everyone disses Bleach? I mean, we're guilty of this too, obviously. But I mean,
way obvious, yeah.
But I mean, do you think we are too hard on Bleach, or do you think it deserves everything we throw at it?
There's enough. I think there's enough affection in it that we can get away with it. But at the same time, I don't know. I really don't know about that. I mean, it earns some of the scorn we give it, but at the same time, I mean, it's nearing the end, so maybe we should ease up. At the same time, but then we get stuff like up and down, up and down. So I don't know.
Yeah. You know what? I'll just say this: if Bleach doesn't want to be made fun of, it shouldn't make it itself so damn easy, you know?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, like I said, it's like Ichigo is pretty much a lesson in Sesame Street. Near, far. Near, far.
I know. Alright. I think that will finish up our One Piece chapter.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to it?
I think we're good right now. I'm kind of wondering how many people like specifically theorize something like this, like muscle balloon versus anything else.
Yeah, I'm sure someone did it.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, it's an extension enough of the bone balloon, if nothing else.
I mean, we were kind of close. We say it would be kind of a mix between Gear Third and Second, and it is essentially a mix between Gear Third and Second. So yeah,
somewhere in the middle. There was like I said, I find the whole muscle thing just disturbing on a level.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I don't know why. Like the bone balloon is essentially the same thing, but the idea of him tearing into his arm to get to the muscle so he can blow into them, it's just just kind of weird on there. All right. Anyway, on that note, take us away.
Bye.